Hi there, Karen Flaherty here from Living by Human Design. Hope you're doing well today. Today we're talking about the gate 47, which is in the sun. It just started today, and this is all about mindset. It's all about getting big ideas, getting very abstract ideas, and let's see where that takes us this week. So this morning, September 9th, the sun moved into the gate 47, and this is off the top of the ajna over here. It's in the abstract channel of thought and ideas that come into us. And it's also called the mindset, but it's also called the epiphany. So once those ideas come into, say, the 64, you have kind of an aha moment and they become the epiphany. So we'll talk more about that in a minute, but this goes until September 14th. We've got the Earth at the same time in the gate 22, which is right here, coming off the top of the solar plexus. This is all about charm and grace. And so we start the week with the continuation of definition from the sacral all the way up to the throat. And that's the channel of charisma, which I think I forgot to mention last week, but it is all about charisma because it's being able to speak in the moment and also being able to have this gate of power, which is also called multitasking in the gate 34. So both the throat and the sacral are defined. Then as we move a little further into the week, we'll continue to have the 3420 defined from the sacral to the throat, but then we also add in the spleen because the 57 gets activated through Mercury. That starts on Saturday, and then everyone will also feel a little bit intuitive as well as having a defined spleen. And the spleen is a really nice energy. It's very nurturing. It's very, kind of caring. And the 57, of course, is very intuitive, and that's a nice energy to have also. So as we look at both of these, you can see that the 47 is either mindset or epiphany. Sometimes they call it oppression because the mindset can go either way, right? It can be very optimistic or pessimistic. You can think of it as positive or negative. It's kind of an either or when this mindset is in. And so they do think of it as oppression or realization in the original I Ching. And it's described as a very restrictive and adverse state as a result of internal weakness or external strength or both. And so what this means is that there's a lot of stuff that goes on in our lives, right, that can have an effect on what our mindset looks like. And so you get to decide what your mindset is, but it can be oppressive sometimes when we don't know what's going on, or we're taking things too personally, or there's a lot going on in the world, as there is right now. So in the IHDS books, we've got the incarnation crosses this week are the cross of rulership, realizations, also called oppression, and informing. And in the gene keys, we'll talk about those in a minute, but oppression is definitely the shadow. On the other side, in the Earth, we've got the gate 22, which is all about charm and grace, which is always, kind of usually a sweet energy, but it also comes off the solar plexus. And so depending on how people are feeling on their emotions, it can be either very charming and graceful, or it can be the opposite. So it's called grace or openness in the original I Ching, and it's a quality of behavior best suited in handling mundane and trivial situations. I don't necessarily agree with that. It can be in many situations. I like to think of this as the fundraiser gate. People who have this are great at the kind of cocktail parties we used to have pre-pandemic, where you'd go around and ask people for donations. It's that kind of an energy, very charming and graceful and open and willing to chat with people and have a good time. So in the gene keys, dishonor is the shadow, graciousness is the gift, and grace is the CD. So when we look at the gene keys for the gate 47, as Richard said, at a certain stage, contemplation gives way to absorption. So this is, again, it's all about the mind. It's all about where our thoughts are and how much control we have over them or not. So as I said, the shadow is oppression. The gift is transmutation, which is changing those thoughts into really transmuting them into something much more positive than the oppression. And then the CD is transfiguration, which is really changing it up completely. So he says the very thing that terrifies you the most is your route to a higher revolution. Sorry. And so this is about, facing our fears, basically, allowing ourselves to face the fears so that we can get better, so that we can evolve, so that we can get our mojo back if we need to get our to get in gear to do a project to move forward in any kind of endeavor that we have underway. And he also says the whole of our planet, humanity, and all the creatures and Earth herself will eventually be transfigured. And what he means by this is that if we do take those fears on, embrace them, and then first transmute them, and then allow them to be transfigured, so that we're actually working from the strengths that those fears have given us, that we've been able to get through, that the whole world would be better. That's a very positive note. So here's some personalities born in the Sun Gate 47. And so we've got a whole bunch of different people. Agatha Christie, Amy Winehouse, Tyler Perry, the former president of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, Otis Redding, songwriter and singer, actress from the 30s, let's say, Tolstoy, Colin Firth, Arnold Palmer, the famous golfer, Jesse Owens, Hugh Grant, Sam Neill. So a number of different people, a number of people who use that oppression to overcome their fears, I would say. And it is the right angle cross of rulership, which is really a leadership role. And a lot of these people did have leadership roles. So this week in history, September 9th to the 14th, we had a number of different things going on. In 1776, it happened to be the date, September, changed the name from United Colonies to the United States, which was kind of interesting. And then in 1786, I didn't even realize this, George Washington called for the abolition of slavery. That, of course, did not happen at that point, but it was something that he was asking for. And in 1850, California became our 31st state. On September 10th in 63, as school was beginning all over the country, President Kennedy federalized Alabama's National Guard to prevent Governor Wallace from using his people to stop public school desegregation. And so if you think about it, since Brown versus Board of Education was in 1954, and this is 1963 that this was happening, there were still a number of states and districts that did not desegregate when they were asked to. And then, of course, unfortunately, 20 years ago, hard to believe, in 2001, we had the attacks on the World Trade Center and on the Pentagon, and the plane that crashed into Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and killed almost 3,000 people in total that day. The day I'm sure many of us won't forget who lived through it, and will live in infamy. September 12th, Henry Hudson happened to sail into what is now New York Harbor aboard his ship. So that's the week from the past. I hope you make it a good week. Take a look at your mindset. Watch out for the times when you might feel a little more pessimistic than optimistic, and know that you can change it. Know that it doesn't have to stay that way. You get to decide what it is that you want to focus on, what you want to have in your mind. And it's not emotional energy. It's really just in your mind. So you get to control what's up there. You get to change the thoughts that are up there, and you get to decide how you want to feel. So have a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.